I grew up in a family of artists. My sister and I had lessons in all different art forms, especially Japanese art forms. But poetry was the one art form that I took on for myself, so it was mine. So poetry has always been something that I identify with very closely as being my own. It's my own blanket. It's my own magic.
Kimiko was able to breathe life into form, and her work does that distinctively. And she also invites us to bring every aspect of our being into our work. There's nothing to shy away from. There's a spectrum within us, and her work teaches us how to activate certain parts of it when we want to think deeply about ourselves. The poem can do that, and she's a great model for that.
She's experimental, right? And I don't mean that in like an ethereal, highfalutin way, you know? I feel, you know, with Kimiko, like her experiments for me are so very much relatable. She is so willing and open to play with form, to play with shapes in her work.
I admire the way that she can focus on a small object, how a small object can radiate out into larger sort of platforms. So something becomes a symbol or becomes a small window into something larger. It can be emotional, or it can be an intellectual struggle with something related to gender or history or society or culture.
I was encouraged to be an artist, but not necessarily to express things that would rub my family the wrong way. So there's kind of a contradiction there, which I didn't pay attention to. I just went along and expressed what was important to me. For me, expressing myself and expressing a range of emotions was kind of a feminist act.
I feel like she is particularly fierce about addressing her background, her life, her lived experience. She won't shy away from questioning the self and the self within a community and within history. That was very empowering for me to see over and over again. A career out of that questioning.
I know actually Kimiko as a person, and I consider her a friend. But first and foremost, I actually consider Kimiko as a mentor and as a model of how to live as a poet. She just has such a sense of style and also a sense of purpose. And she's one of the first poets that I encountered that takes up space. Kimiko moves through the world with such poise and such beauty and such grace, but also like such a tenacity. And she also looks out for the community.
Kimiko's had a long career with Queens College, so mentorship is important. Teaching the next generations of poets is important. Also simply publishing, you know, having our names be visible on the bookshelf, or, you know, this is important for any young person who wants to see somebody that's like them, that comes from the same background, making it out in the profession, because it seems so daunting, overwhelming, overcrowded sometimes. And it's great to see a name that sounds very much like yours.
I really love where poetry is headed right now. I think that a lot of people are taking up issues that have to do with social justice and identity in terms of being non-binary and so forth. I wouldn't change that direction. It's a big tent, and that's what I look forward to. People using their creativity to not only produce art, but to get it out in the world in really unusual places.